football, Arthurian legend, plus He-Man. Smash them together and you get this very bizarre series. There's loads of movies and shows that are based off the classic King Arthur fantasy. Some of the best are the 1963 Disney film, the Merlin TV movie starring Sam Neill, and of course, Colin Morgan's Merlin. There was even that recent movie, The Kid Who Would Be King, that no one watched. Just like that one, the Knights of Justice gave an inventive take. Okay, everyone's wondering, how does a football team end up in medieval times? King Arthur's kingdom has fallen by the forces of Queen Morgana. King Arthur and his knights were trapped inside the Cave of Glass, with his people under attack by her warlords. These guys are original characters. Each of the villains are based off animals, led by Lord Viper, the only human. The rest of the army was created from rocks. Viper has a personal grudge towards King Arthur, little detail, but it felt like he could have been one of the people who attempted to pull the sword from the stone and failed. Warlord Blackwing, being the third most used, has the ability to fly, very similar to Starscream.
Fools! How could you let the prisoners escape?
The rest of his army are there for their weapons and attacks, no real personality to speak of. For Queen Morgana, she's 50-50. We know her reasons why she went after Arthur and Merlin, but doesn't get much to do past creating monsters and plans. Functions much like Mab from the Merlin miniseries. This series, Merlin serves as the show's narrator and mentor of good. He's between Neil and Colin's Merlin. He's active in aid, but doesn't have much magic, thanks to being heavily drained from his fights between Morgana. Unlike most of the series that aired 6 in the goddamn morning, it had a planned out story arc. Everyone added their piece, and there was a few end goals. With the original knights imprisoned, as well as Queen Guinevere captured in the first 2 episodes, the Lady of the Lake, retitled Lady of the Table, told Merlin that there are others who possess a heroic heart and courage to protect the kingdom, which is where Arthur King and his football team called the Knights come in. There's not much explained why random guys in the future have similar names. My theory was that Arthur King and Lance were reincarnations of King Arthur and Lancelot, which is how the Lady of the Table could know of them. Nimue in different versions raised Sir Lancelot and brought Arthur's body to Avalon, so she would have the power to control souls and be endless to time. I still don't get why she'd bring them to upstate New York when the stories are in the UK. Basically, the football team is a modern version of the Round Table Knights. Instead of wars, they fought on a football field and goofed off. If you're wondering, is this a modern time King Arthur? No. The present day only acts as a frame. The Knights team is brought to the past with the last of Merlin's strongest magic. This is where the classic story ends and where the Knights of Justice kicks in. In most of the stories, the Lady of the Lake houses the power of Excalibur. Knights expanded on this, where Nimue grants the entire team special powers. Even the Round Table is different. Each of the Knights bear an animal crest, which grants them different abilities. The Round Table holds their suit of armor, which they can call Power Ranger style, and this was back in '92, 1 year before the series came out. What's even more funny, Shuki Levy, who composed most of the Power Rangers earlier seasons' music, worked on this.
Whoa!
I think that's the reason why the show clicked with kids. It has the cool fantasy elements, Excalibur, Merlin, a mystical woman who can control water and magic. You got a football team from the present day being funny.
Oh man, this place stinks worse than Phil's sneakers.
Having some fish out of water moments, but also strong-willed, makes mistakes, saves lives guys. They've been torn from the future, and the only way back is to find the 12 magic keys of truth that free each of the trapped original knights. Part modern, part Power Rangers, part Zelda. It surprised me even today when rewatching it. The first season holds up pretty good. There's an overall story which most morning cartoons didn't bother with. They used Arthur's legend differently, but didn't ruin characters because these guys are filling in for the time being, and they were able to keep the show exciting while being in medieval times.
And I will dip my fangs in your blood.
Now it has problems. Remember how hard it was to remember all the Transformer characters? Picture 20 heroes and villains with only 13 episode seasons, plus 5 guys doing 12 characters. You get everything mixed up. They did a good job in giving the 12 Knights personalities to start with, but 95% of them never get developed past that. They all blend in your head. Really, 3 characters, King Arthur, Lancelot, and Trunk, stand out. The least used characters don't even get a chance to use their special powers. The only way we knew who had what is if you bought the figurines. Luckily, I still remember everything. King Arthur controls Excalibur, with his shield containing a yellow dragon that can transport and attack enemies with fire. Excalibur is stored within his armor itself. All the heroes' weapons are stored within their armor. Sir Lancelot bears the emblem of a lion, which is used for attacking. Tone has the ability to be the on-site blacksmith, summoning tools and gear from his chest. Tone can make any item, so lots of times he makes a hand glider, scuba gear, all modern stuff. He's basically Doc Brown. Also shares the same color scheme as Wheeljack, except in the video game where they swapped his green with blue. The colorist missed what they were doing. He's Italian, not French. His shield animal is a serpent. Rarely got used, probably because it's really similar to the bad guys. He was my favorite character. I always wanted him to build a car. Sir Trunk, just a strong dude. His animal is a ram, helps the team out a few times by climbing up and out of cliffs. Brick, who of course has the power of bricks, is able to create bricks forever. He could probably rebuild an entire kingdom in a few days. Sir Darren, the crossbow confident guy, with his animal being an eagle. I always thought he was the most underutilized because he's the archer, has a flying bird that could lift men, perfect for long-range scouting or attacks, but he's more interested in dating Lady Elaine. Sir Wally guards Arthur. I liked him too because he wasn't confident in his ability. If he screwed up, Wally got mad at himself, so he kept pushing to get better. Sir Phil, the bodyguard, he's all about strength, wields a hammer as a weapon with a Black Panther for his shield animal, and the one who wanted to return to the present, which I'm glad one of them spoke up about. It always bothered me that the guys didn't really care they got thrown into a life and death situation. I could accept Arthur and Lance, but not the others. The last four, Sir Gallop, Breeze, Lug, and Zeke. They got a few episodes featuring them, but were the least used, Zeke being the lowest, to the point I forget him all the time. He's the genius of the team.
Maybe there's an alteration in the chemical makeup of the chlorophyll. Something in the leaves could be making them change colors fast.
But that's it. He's so neglected, his animal, a Hydra, is never used in the show. The series oddly didn't get any real time near an ocean to utilize the aquatic animals. Gallop is basically a copy of Darren, a ladies' man. His name never really made sense. Most of their nicknames are based off their personality or job on the football team. Gallop doesn't feature anything for horses. His weapon is a pike and his animal is a two-headed hound. Breeze is the calm ego guy. He'll be the one who will insult the bad guys, never loses his cool, and wins. His weapon and animal are Pike and a Sphinx, which I don't get why they picked that. Lug is one of the few knights that took on Warlord Viper, which is pretty big for the character. Unlike the others, Lug was the team's equipment guy. He wasn't a football player, so his knight power didn't actually give him a main weapon. What he did get was a football. Yeah, I don't know how that would have worked out in a fight because he never actually uses it. He fought Viper with other weapons. His shield animal also did not get used. Thanks again for no water available to use his octopus. The guys could use more work, but it was a okay starting point for the series. The one thing I never got was Merlin, Lady of the Table, and Morgana were the only ones who knew the truth of where the knights came from. No one told Queen Guinevere or her close friends. I could understand the kingdom so that people could be kept calm. It could be years before they could free the originals, but not telling the queen? That was such a boneheaded move. For the remainder of season 1, it got a good bunch of side characters, with Merlin and the characters getting comfortable into their new lives. The series got popular, and I was waiting for season 2. What are we going to get in this one? Will Arthur free the originals? Will they get back home? No. We got a whole bunch of crap. I have no words on what happened with season 2, but they completely screwed it up. It felt like the team was thrown off guard at it being a success, and they didn't know what to do. The Cliff Note version of what happened is that they dropped the story. The whole looking for the keys to save the original King Arthur never gets brought back up. What's worse, they bring in this new villain group on top of Morgana's called the Purple Horde, led by Master Chang. They don't even bother caring about giving us backstory for this army. They're basically there to conquer the land for craps and giggles. I don't know, with a limited alliance to Morgana. This basically buries Morgana and her minions. That's not even the worst thing. they changed the animation studio working on nights. It's not like how Disney had 3 animation studios working on their cartoons, usually, where it had some bad episodes with off-model characters. Try the entire season being off-model. Characters and backgrounds looking like they forgot shadows. You already had a huge list of characters set up for both sides. You could have expanded on any one of them. If you were worried about not having something to sell as toys, it's a fantasy show. Have the knights get power-ups. That's what the keys could have been. As you find the 12 keys, it grants upgrades to Nimwe's magic. They could have even made some of the keys fall to Morgana, powering up the warlords. They didn't even do anything with Chang. His only trait is that he's honorable. He won't backstab the knights for a win. That's it. On top of the visual downgrade and meandering story, the personalities of the knights were either reduced or dropped. The potential that the series had got thrown out. They even got lazy on the show's text. I won't lie, it was hard to read the text sometimes with the fantasy font, but they just used a junk font that looked like it was a temp title. I wouldn't be surprised if it was with the amount of effort they put into the animation, but the quality drop for the episodes, I don't know what the hell happened. The same people who worked on season 1 worked on season 2. The only thing I could think of was the whole 1993 Mortal Kombat crap that happened. They got scared that the show would be targeted by complaints, so they ended up making this poor excuse of a season that butchered everything. I never finished watching season 2 when it originally aired. I gave up and just watched the Mighty Max. I wanted to see the team rescue the original knights. To King Arthur stopping Morgana's reign. I wanted to see that epic final fight. Luckily, it was released on DVD, so I got to see all of season 2. 20 plus years later, still a disappointment, still didn't help. I really, really liked this show. It had the Beast Wars and reboot voice cast. Hell, it had Tel Rothry from Stargate play as a character for a few episodes. Yeah, the premise is crazy, but that's why I liked it. I'm surprised this hasn't been adapted into a live-action movie yet. There's been so many crap remakes done. I'm still expecting this to be done. I'll still recommend the first season. Watch the second season if you want. Thanks again for watching. If you have a suggestion for a TV or a movie that's long been forgotten, leave a comment down below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.